Welcome everybody to this webinar. We're going to be talking all about B2B commerce in LATAM, and I have two amazing panelists alongside me today, and I would love to welcome them to you. We have Ljubitza Frkovich, and she is from Promelsa. Welcome, Ljubitza.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Jason. Thank you very much, Brett, for the opportunity to share my thoughts, my thinkings, and all my experience here in this webinar. And happy to share all what I know and have a fun in this conversation.
Amazing. And I also want to welcome Alan, and he is the Chief Marketing and Digital Officer of Ferreyros in Peru as well. Welcome, Alan.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, Jason, for inviting me. Thank you, Ljubitza, as well. I think we're going to be sharing very good insights today. Thanks, Brett, and all the e-commerce community that is attending now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and you both are based in Peru, born in Peru, raised in Peru, doing business in Peru. I was born in California, lived in New Zealand for almost 30 years. I've been living in Mexico now for the last just over year and a half, based in Puebla City now, which is about 2 hours southeast of Mexico. So definitely well and truly getting my feet wet in the LATAM market and starting to understand it a lot better. So I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you guys today. Before we kick things off with some more formal questions, Ljubitza, why don't you tell us how you came to be in the B2B space? If we look back across your career, it's been almost exclusively B2B, actually. And, you've held multiple positions, and now at Promelsa, you were head of digital, and now you're basically the head of digital transformation for all of Promelsa. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what Promelsa is and does? As I understand it, electrical distributor there in Peru. But why don't you tell us kind of how you came to be in this space and working in B2B e-commerce?
I'm the digital transformation manager at Promelsa. Promelsa is a leading distributor of electrical products with 56 years of experience. And I'm proud to say that I'm the eldest granddaughter of this family business that is in the third generation, founded by my grandfather. So at first, I began my learning journey in Promelsa when I was a head of marketing 8 years ago, and I was in charge of Marcom and all the strategic product management. And during this time, I led the launch of the B2B e-commerce website, and that was like one of the biggest accomplishments I had up until now in my career. And it's very curious because the B2B came into my life. Why? It was something that was mentioned in the strategic plan in 2015, but it hadn't been accomplished up until 2018 when I stepped into the company. And it was like my mission. The CEO at that time told me, Ljubitza, your mission is to launch e-commerce. We can't do it up until this time, so you have to work on this. So your first meeting, and it was literally my first reunion, my first meeting, once I stepped in on my first day of work, he told me, you should meet with Avatar. Avatar was a solution partner of B2B in IBM's e-commerce platform. And I sat in the reunion, I was just actively listening and trying to grasp everything what I heard about the conversation, the presentation. And when it was our turn for talking to the solution partner, I told them about who was our customer. Then no one could answer in the meeting. The CEO at the time didn't know who was the customer that is going to be served in the e-commerce platform. So that was a turning point, because then I said okay, we don't know we want to implement an e-commerce, and in the B2B dynamics you have different roles. So I don't know at that time I didn't know that if you're gonna serve the one that is gonna just click in the shopping cart button, or the one that is from the logistics department, or I don't know, the technician that is the one that have all the know-how and is going to consume the product from your e-commerce, or perhaps it's the owner of the company that is going to buy because he owns the budget. So who is the customer in this B2B dynamic world? And as it was a turning point for me, that I fully immersed in the B2B world, I start to consume all the information content I could at that time. But in Peru, in LATAM, there was not not a lot of information 8 years ago. So I started traveling to US. I deep dive onto this world, and I get to know like B2B Online, B2B Next at the time, and different organizations that did conference, and they promote their content. And I was a heavy consumer of all the content. I download all the white papers, all the PDFs. I have like my iPad with all the 100 PDFs about like e-com, B2B marketing, and B2B e-commerce became a passion for me. So, well, as I get onto this process with all the information that I get together, then we launched the e-commerce, and after that, I was about to be like the leader of the B2B e-commerce sales, because it was like a new sub-channel, and I was like the head of the digital unit. And after that, this year, like formally on April, I was promoted to a digital transformation manager, and right now I'm in charge of the IT department, of marketing, of data, and everything related like to systems and to technology. So I'm looking forward to integrate and transform processing and covering more than just e-com. So yeah, that's pretty much my experience, and did pretty much like my learning journey in B2B.
Wow. You wear a lot of hats in that organization. You're basically like the CDO, the CTO, the CIO, the CMO. Like, you got a lot of responsibilities in the business, but it sounds very exciting. Third generation family business, very exciting. It's very common in the B2B world, in my experience, for, a lot of these B2B businesses that have been around for 25, 50, 100 years. Oftentimes now it is the third generation taking over and running the business and leading digital transformation, because that third generation is a digital native now, and therefore they have a natural expectation that their business can do business with their customers digitally. Alan, I'll turn the floor over to you. How did you get, and again, I look back across your career and it's almost exclusively B2B as well. How did you come to be in this wonderful world of B2B, digital, e-com, etc.?
Actually, Jason, it wasn't. I haven't been on the B2B industry for the last 12 years since I joined Ferreyros. Before that, and for the ones who don't know Ferreyros, we are the Caterpillar dealer in Peru. So we're the exclusive dealer in Peru. So we sell Caterpillar machines, parts. We're one of the top companies in Peru. We sell around 1.5 billion a year, so we're a big company. But before joining Ferreyros, I actually was on B2C. So I spent most of my career actually on B2C. I live in Australia some years, but while I was there, I was working on the finance sector, on credit cards, and I was on CRM, issuing credit cards for retailers. And then when I came back to Peru, I joined a department store, kind of like Macy's. All right. So I was on the department store industry, going to consumers, end consumers. I was heading the CRM department as well. And then I launched the business department. And after some years there, then I was hunted by a cosmetics company. So very similar to Mary Kay, for example, here in Peru. So I was actually in the cosmetics business, right? And when they hunted me, they called me to join Ferreyros. I said, why do you want me? I mean, I work in a B2C industry and I sell lipsticks, right? And now you want me to move into selling, bulldozers and excavators. Why are you interested in me? And they told me, because we are so B2B. Ferreyros was such a traditional company that we actually need expertise from somebody who comes from the other side, from the B2C industry, who knows more digital solutions, digital strategies, more retail. So we actually wanna transform our B2B mindset into a B2C mindset, right? And that's why they brought me. So I came with B2C experience. And actually, my challenge was try to change the mindset of the people here and move away from that B2B mentality into more a B2C, mentality. Is how do we break, because at the end, what I say is, I always say, stop thinking about B2B. I'm sorry, I tell this, in a B2B conference, right? But at the end, a business doesn't talk to a business. When you say business to business, businesses don't talk, businesses don't feel, businesses don't, don't take decisions. It's the people that work on each side of business who actually take the decisions. So we're not in the B2B industry, we're in the H to H industry, human to human. And actually, that's been one of the key success factors that we've had in the last years, is to change that mentality. Is that, it's Alan, designing a campaign, a promotion, a solution, an initiative, not for the other business, it's for the other people that work on that business. And those people, they feel, they have families, they have targets, they have a life, and we need to humanize, that B2B more, hard concept into a softer one. And that's been my role over the last 12 years, try to change that mentality. And to do that, we needed to launch new solutions like e-commerce, like telematics, IoT, try to, and the end, the end concept that we usually tell our customers and our sales force as well, is that we want to make those people that work on the other business, we want to make their life easier, better, so they can go to our houses, earlier and be with their families, spend time with their hobbies, what they do. That's what really drives us to do better solutions for them, which is a different concept to maybe what everybody believes about B2B, right?
Yeah, no question about that. And when you first started with Ferreyros, did they offer e-commerce at all? Did they offer EDI ordering? Did they offer punch out? Did they offer self-service e-commerce? Did they offer any digital commerce channels at all when you started with them? Or was it your remit to implement digital commerce for the very first time in the business?
When I arrived, that was 12 years ago. No, we didn't have any e-commerce. We didn't have any digital solution at all. So it was part of my challenge to try to, open the minds of people here. And they were actually very receptive. And when, I remember one of my first conversations was, hey, we should be in social media. I was coming from retail. I was coming from cosmetics. I was coming from department store. We were all in social media. And they were like, what? You want us to be in social media? So everybody's going to be, talking to us and talking bad about us. I say, no, we have to be there, right? We have to open those doors to that digital world where we're not in. And we developed a plan, a strategic plan, a digital strategic plan where, one of our first steps was to go into social media. But step number 3 and 4 was, let's go to e-commerce, right? Let's go to telematics. Let's, our machines, they feel, they have sensors, they can tell us how they feel. Let's show our customers how those machines feel. Let's make them talk to us, right? Let's make those machines talk to our customers and feel how they feel, right? It's a very human concept. And but no, but answering your question, when I arrived, no, we didn't have any. And I would say we did the first steps actually before Caterpillar on starting this digital transformation process. And then Caterpillar, from their side, they started doing their steps as well, And I would say all together between Caterpillar and Ferreyros, we both together have been, building solutions and transforming ourselves into a digital leader. Right now, we are, I would say, the leaders in Peru in all the industry. And actually, Ferreyros, and that's a badge that I like always to show, is we've been considered by Caterpillar as the #1 digital dealer in the world with the best digital KPIs.
Wow! And when was the first year you actually went live with your first digital solution?
We built our digital strategic plan in 2014. And 2015, we started, opening, our world into social media. We started developing an app, an application for our technicians so that they could mark, every time they were leaving the office, they were going to the customer, so that we can share with our customers where our technician was and when they were finished some of the work they were doing. that was our first actually app. And then e-commerce, we started with e-commerce in 2017. With with a lot of dreams, emotions, a lot of detractors as well. A lot of people who thought we were crazy about doing e-commerce in Ferreyros, but and right now, it's a very successful story, which I can tell you more details further.
Sure. So 2017, that's 1 year before you went live with your first e-commerce solution, right, Ljubitza? Because you said 28, was it 2018?
2018, I stepped in Promelsa for the first time, but
Okay.
launching e-commerce, it was like 2022. Yeah, like
So
two,
that was
three,
the
2.5
first
years ago.
e-commerce solution in the business.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to build on what Alan said. Like, he was also part of my learning journey. Like, when I was immersed in all this world, like, I tried to grasp everything from everyone, like B2B, e-commerce, B2B e-commerce. So I remember I saw Alan talking about like his recent launch and all the activities he've done. And you can see me like just start to record everything what he presented. Like, this is
I
valuable
remember that
content for
very
me.
well.
Yeah, you remember I was like a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after that, yeah, as I told before, like a deep dive on my knowledge and all this drive my passion, no? But in our case in Promelsa, yeah, in 2022 we launched the platform for the first time, and we are looking for continuous improvement because it's like a never ending. You're always like trying to grasp what your customers want, how to adapt like your solution for having like the Salesforce jump in on your platform, and like for us, like it was a key milestone of my e-commerce journey was the actual launch of the platform, because before launching it was like a lot of work inside Promelsa. So we have to start defining our master data. We have to look for a pricing strategy that we want to communicate on this platform. So new rules, new processes, everything like you don't see when you go live. When you go live, or before you go live, like during the implementation, your solution provider asks you like, okay, then give me your data, give me your products, give me your photos, give me your description, your attributes. And I remember like when we were before starting the implementation, we came into account that we didn't have attributes for our products. And we say, how come we don't have attributes? We have to work on them. So then we established a deadline and we start working on that. And at the same time, we started like to start to a project of taking photographs, pictures, like in high quality, because we used to have like an internal system that have all our SKUs and all the different images for our products, but they are not in high resolution. So for having like a good customer experience, you got to be like immersed in a photography project. So yeah, I was immersed like in a pricing strategy with a consultant, photography, content data, like I started to with my team to grasp all the information my manufacturers had at that time. So I remember one of them, like they had everything for giving us like their spec sheets, their catalogs, like the let's say like pictures, product applications, and everything that we wish to have in our website, but some of our manufacturers don't. So yeah, it was like we said, okay, we're gonna launch with a product that minimum has a picture and their spec sheet, because like it's the minimum thing that our customers are trying to get when they jump into the website. Like we can't launch a website if we don't have the picture. We can't launch a product if we don't have like the spec sheet. So yeah, it was like the minimum requirement before launching. So it was like a project before the implementation that took us like 1 year to work on. Then when the implementation was like the easiest part, let's say, because we already had information and we started like working hand by hand with our solution partner. But it was a project that it was supposed to have a duration time like for 6 months. But as we implemented like during pandemic, during COVID, like we had to extend it to a year. So it was like a long project. So the key milestone for us, it was like the launch of the e-commerce. So yeah, that's pretty much.
Love it. And how did you guys, and I'll throw this back over to you. How did you make the business case for investments in digital, in e-commerce, in social media, in your case, Alan? Did the business expect a business case, or were they just like, well, this is a no-brainer, we got to do this, so we're going to do it, and it just kind of costs what it costs? Because I know that in LATAM, for example, B2C and D2C e-commerce adoption are well under, what they are in the United States or in Australia or in New Zealand or whatever. They're actually more along the lines of New Zealand. And I know in LATAM, Mexico has one of the highest penetrations of e-commerce as a percentage of total retail of any LATAM country. I think they're number 2 behind Brazil. And retail e-commerce here is only about 9% of total retail in Mexico, still to this day. It's growing faster than physical retail, but it's not even into double digits yet. So retail e-commerce adoption in LATAM is relatively low as a percentage of retail. So I can only imagine that e-commerce or digital commerce adoption within B2B in LATAM is relatively low. And so how did you guys, because Ljubitza, you had Alan and others like him to look to because he had implemented and gone live before you. So you could kind of refer back to him, his business, some of the learnings that he shared with the world. But Alan, you were so early to this game, relatively speaking. You didn't necessarily have a whole bunch of other LATAM enterprises that you could point to and say, these guys are doing commerce super well, and we can use them almost like a little bit of a blueprint. You were blazing a very new trail. So how did you get commercial buy-in to that level of investment inside the business to start on the journey of digital transformation?
Actually, that's a good question, Jason. In our case, so before 2017, we implemented a very basic e-commerce. Actually, it was not an e-commerce. It was just a quoting tool where customers could go in, but it was very manual. They had to input their part numbers, and it would give you like a quote. So it was like our first experience, and it wasn't very used. But then Caterpillar actually came with this development. They told us, hey guys, all dealers in the world, we are working on this new project, which is an e-commerce. And, it's first stage, nobody's using it so far. Anybody's interested in, giving the first step? And I said, I want to do it, and it didn't cost us as much because actually it was Caterpillar developing the e-commerce solution for all the dealers in the world. All right. So they were actually doing the investment. So our role was more on go-to-market, say, okay, so how do we take, your tool, the one that you Caterpillar are building, and how do we make it work in our business? So for me and for my boss, it was a no-brainer. Say, hey, we've been trying to do this, with this basic tool with it, and now Caterpillar is coming with this tool. Hey, let's move forward and see what happens. We were actually one of the first dealers in the world to move into e-commerce, and trying, this new solution, and actually started working well. We had a lot of hypotheses about what was gonna happen. For example, we thought at the beginning that all the regions in Peru, outside Lima, have different provinces and regions. They were not going to adopt e-commerce because their internet, adoption was slow. And we thought actually that in Lima was going to work well. But actually, when we started, implementing it, we started seeing actually the otherwise. It was actually, those remote areas actually using it more than customers here in the capital city. And actually is until now, it's happening until now. So it was a no-brainer for us, but it was maybe that bold decision that we said, okay, let's go for it. We want to be the first ones. Let's try this new thing. And it's been working well since we started. And we've been, leading most of the dealers in the world in our digital evolution because we were the first ones to take that first step, right? So when we were 2 or 3 steps ahead, there were other dealers that were taking their first steps. So we've been kind of like, that's what I'm saying. We've been like the leaders on e-commerce in all cat dealers in the world.
And how, I mean, I don't know, do you guys are you only a dealer for Caterpillar, or are you a dealer for other heavy equipment manufacturers too? Because what I found is that in some instances where a dealer is a dealer of multiple brands, they're a multi-brand dealership, when one of those brands comes to them and says, hey, we've developed this e-commerce solution, do you want to use it? Sometimes the dealer has to say no, because they can't put all of their brand's products in that portal, so to speak. They can only extend that brand's products into their market. And so they say, no, we're going to develop our own dealer portal, and we're going to have all of our products and all of our brands in the one portal. So no, thank you, manufacturer, but we want to develop our own system. So in your case, was there ever a debate or ever a question about, okay, do we want to deploy the Caterpillar corporate solution, or do we want to develop our own? Was there ever any friction in that decision-making process?
No, because 90 to 95% of our sales are Caterpillar. So we are very, very heavy on Caterpillar. But we have that 5 to 10% of non-Caterpillar items. And actually, yeah, that we actually had that conversation with the other brands. There are smaller ones, and they were saying, hey, we also want to, sell in e-commerce. So we had that question, what do we do now? So actually we talked to Caterpillar and said, hey, can we use your portal to sell, the, parts for the other brands? And they're not competing. So we sell, parts from different OEMs that they don't compete. So they say, actually, we're the first dealer asking them that question. And they said, yeah, why not? So we did it, and now we actually sell, parts for Massey Ferguson, for example. We sell Massey Ferguson, Mezzo, and other brands. POS we have. We sell parts through the Caterpillar e-commerce, and that's fine. It's working well. I mean, it has all the branding and everything of Caterpillar, but you can go in and find products from other brands.
Wow, amazing compromise, I suppose, made with the master manufacturer. Ljubitza, how did you create, or did you even need to create the business case around digital investment in the business? Because you started out, you were head of digital, and then you sort of took over broader digital transformation across the whole organization, not just e-com. How did you sort of start to get buy-in within the business to make this happen? But I mean, based on what you first said, you were brought in specifically and given that and tasked with that, hey, make this happen. So it feels like there was already executive buy-in to this concept of digital commerce. They just didn't necessarily know how to make it happen until you arrived in the business and you started driving those initiatives forward. But how did they make the business case even before you ever got there? Was it because customers were saying, hey, we want to buy digitally off you. Can you please offer us a digital solution? Because as part of our procurement process, it's really expensive doing business with you because we can't do business with you digitally.
Yeah, well, it was not at that time because our clients were like explicitly asking for us, but it was more like we started a strategic plan with a consultant, and with all the investigation, benchmarks, and everything, they stated that for a business model like Promelsa, so a distributor need to evolve, like to start competing in this new landscape with e-commerce technology. So to launch our website is like something that Promelsa should do. But as you said, like nobody knows where to start. Like it was not just like grabbing some solution partner and launching your e-com, because there was a lot of understanding for the people in the business, like before doing that, because it could be like a total failure if not. So I remember that at that time, I was not the first to step in my industry. We had other competitors with their websites, but as I told before, their websites were like lacking of information. Like they, when you start like looking, you see like their product descriptions are not standardized. They have no taxonomy. You can't find the keywords easily. So when you got into the product, there was no picture, no spec sheet. So it's like, and you can't buy in the e-com. It was just you start like to feeling good like in the process, and then you want to go to the shopping cart, and there was no shopping cart. You had to log in into a form and wait like 2 and 3 business days to get approval. So I say, no, I don't want that experience. And as Alan talked before about like this the B2C practice, the B2C world. Like I want to like to give the B2C like experience in the sense that I want the customer when he jumps in to navigate seamlessly, like without frictions, to have the information they are looking for. Like as I told you before, also our thing was it was like okay, with picture with spec sheets we're gonna launch these products in ecom. So it was like a definition for us. So yeah, and to get to that idea, I did a lot of or we did a lot of benchmarks with different I mean, like B2B e-commerce platform from the US, especially. So in that way, I get into the world of the Grangers, the Gray Bars, HED Supply, and every one of them. Just to get like the know-how about like the way they are doing it, because at that time, like okay, it was mentioned in our strategic plan, and distributors in the US are already doing that. So it was the way of doing that. And I remember also that we were like kind of skeptical, like inside the business, about like, okay, if we first launch, we go onto the Shopify, we go onto the WooCommerce, like what is the technology? And I say, after meeting Carlos Camacho, a friend that I don't know if you know him, like from B2B Online, like
Yep.
2019, he told me, you should go and deep dive and get to know Magento. Magento, Adobe Commerce, it's a big platform. You go B2C, B2B. And in that sense, Magento had a solution partner in LATAM, because in LATAM, we also lack of solution partners that have the know-how of B2B, and there is not so much presence of B2B e-commerce platforms in Latam. So, but Magento had a presence because of open source and everything. And there were some kind of clients that have like the enterprise version. So I started like to ask and interview them, like their experience and everything. So for me, it was a learning journey like forever, like an ongoing learning journey. So we said like, okay, let's launch in Magento because okay, it's a costly platform, but for us it was like something that we're gonna grow inside Magento. It's like something that it's not like let's try if this business model works. Let's try if the e-com works for B2B. No, it's gonna work in other countries. I know like we have different levels of maturity. Like our clients are still on the way, but we have to go with them hand by hand. But this is the way we gotta get there. So don't be afraid to invest in Magento, and we're gonna scale with Magento. So yeah, that was our thing. Like something mentioned in the strategic business plan, but nobody had no idea like how to do it. And yeah, it was like a learning journey for me and for my team, for my whole team, classes, professors, white papers, everything, trying to put all the information and start to make our own knowledge. Yeah.
And speaking of this learning journey, did you get any resistance from your sales team and, to these digital channels? Did they feel threatened? Did they feel like, oh, you're trying to replace us with computers? Was there any resistance? And how did you deal with that resistance, if there was resistance inside the business? And I'll ask you first, Ljubitza, and then we'll hand it over to Alan for the same question.
Yeah, yeah. I still deal with this. It's something like it's part of. I had to know that in my role as a digital transformation manager, I have to have like this I have to have the how do you say this a word resilience to deal like with all this different traditional mindset and say, okay, I won't take this personal. I will just go beyond because I trust in my team. My team trusts in me, and also I know this is the way we're gonna prove that. So we start showing the quick wins, and that really helped a lot in all these years of experience. But yeah, at first, like Promelsa had different administrations, like the managements that we had at that time weren't like too much on e-commerce, on digital, but they knew that it was something that we had to do it because of the strategic business plan. But they didn't trust on that. They say there are another things that Promelsa is lacking on, and we should focus on that thing. And they were like a bit the focus, like a efficiency, like cost and everything was like what drive that management at that time. And I was like struggling with that because my vision also as a third generation was to push the business forward. And And I knew at that time that the only way to stay competitive is to innovate, to make something different. And in this new landscape, like we have to reinvent, and the technology is what is a way for us. So I can be thankful because at this moment in time, the management team, we have like the CEO that gave us all the sponsorship, the team that is like actually working with me, they trust on these different digital initiatives. So we know that this is not just about the tool, it's about like the culture, changing the culture, changing the people, changing our sales process. So we are a team that we work collaboratively, and we are looking like to transform Promelsa to stay competitive like for the years ahead. So yeah, but it's not yet solved because there's some resistance still from the salespeople, because yeah, actually they see the e-com, the website as a competitor, as we have different prices from the prices they can offer to their clients, and but we're looking on the way to jump in onto the website. Like we give them training, we started looking at different incentives, rewards. This month we have a special competition when they are like looking forward to win a big TV. So yeah, different ways of looking to have their buy-in. And another thing that we've done was also like to communicate via book that is a platform for HR, or different things, goals that we're achieving. And one of these things is like to promote B2B Insights. That is a new podcast that I have launched like 4 months ago. So for them to jump in and look after the different interviews that I do to see like, okay, it's not Promelsa going crazy and doing these things because it's Ljubitza's idea, but Ferreyros is doing that, Ranza is doing that, this company is doing that, and they start to believe in that. So I start promoting B2B Insights like inside the company also, for all the people that are like afraid of asking, because obviously all these terms like very tech terms. Like when I talk about marketing or when I talk about digital, I use my tech terms, and I don't exactly they don't exactly understand me. But when they see it by their own pace, they say, "Ah, okay, yeah, now I get it." Like it's a slow process. For me, there was a process to understand what digital transformation meant like years ago. So I can understand like for them, they are at that phase at this point in time.
Love it. Alan, did you guys have to do any incentivization to improve adoption with the sales team of these digital channels and leveraging these digital channels? Did you have to give incentives to customers to start using those digital, like the concept of incentivization comes up a lot in the B2B commerce discussion, and whether there needs to be incentives or whether there at the very least needs to be a level playing field between, all channels, meaning that, at least we're not going to disincentivize our salespeople if like, let's say they have a named account and they have a customer that places an order through them as a sales rep versus placing an order online versus an order via EDI versus an order by a punch out. At least we want all those channels, the incentivization to be aligned, right? At the very least. But there's also a discussion about incentivizing over and above to get sales teams and customers migrated across to digital channels as much as possible for efficiency for the customer and efficiency for the business in terms of order processing, data management, all the rest. So have you wrestled with incentivization of sales teams at all within the business?
Yes. Let me say it that way. After some trial and error, we actually discovered the secret recipe. It's like the Coke or KFC secret recipe, which I'm gonna share with you guys. And it's very simple. And it's called the win-win-win. We call it the win-win-win strategy. Okay, that's the recipe. So we had identified that we had three main stakeholders. One of them was a sales force, the other one, the customer, and the other one, our executives in Ferreyros. So we said, if we want to make this work, the three of them have to win. Okay, we have to make sure that the three of them wins. And what happens when all your stakeholders win? I mean, it's not make them feel they're winning. It's actually, they have to know they're winning. Your solution is going to go up by itself. You don't have to invest too much in marketing and different things, because when everybody wins, everybody's going to start using it and it's going to go up and up and up. So we made sure from the beginning that everybody had to win. So first, the sales force. So we thought, oh, okay, so how are they going to win? And initially, our first plan was to make e-commerce compete with them. But then we realized that actually that wasn't the way, because they were not going to win. Actually, they were going to lose, because we were going to take customers out of them. So we said, no, we cannot compete with them. So we're going to partner with them. So instead of competing with them, we said, okay, so e-commerce is going to help you sell more. Okay. So we told the sales reps, it doesn't matter on which channel your customer buys, that sale is yours. Okay. And they're saying, really? Yes. So if your customer decides to buy online, it's your sale. Okay. So they say, okay, we're winning. And we told them, and we are sure that the customers that start buying online are going to buy more than before. And they say, cool. So I'm going to get more money. Yes, because customers are going to start buying more. And the best part is that we're going to take all that time you do every day in quoting, PD quotes and all that, helping customers. So we're going to take all that away from you, and you're going to focus on, big tickets, on big strategic businesses. Stop, wasting your time in those day-to-day transactions.
Admin, basically. We're going to offload admin, and no
Yes.
salesperson alive likes admin, right?
That's right. And you're going to focus on more strategic businesses, on development relationship with customers, and you're going to sell more. And say, cool, so I'm winning everywhere, And they say, I buy it. So we had Salesforce in, as we are right now. And in reality, that's what is happening right now. They're chasing big tickets, all the small tickets are going through e-commerce. They have more time, they increase their sales, so they're winning more and more and more. Then customers, how do we make them win? So we said, okay, what is going to help you win, customer? And they told us, I want to have a platform 24/7. I want delivery at my doorstep. I want to have better prices, promotions. Okay, we're going to do all that. So we started giving free shipping. Okay, if first you get free shipping on your doorstep. You're going to have special prices and promotions that you're not going to find on the traditional channel. You can buy 24/7. All this, and at the end, customers say, hey, cool, that is super convenient. I don't have to go out and quote on different stores. I can do it very quickly with you. So, hey, customer, are you winning? Yes, I'm winning. So they say, okay, I feel and I know I'm winning. And then, our executives who were actually, saying, okay, let's invest time, resources in this, are we getting more money? Because at the beginning, they told me, hey, I think e-commerce is going to be a channel shift. So customers are going to move from one channel to the other, but sales are going to be the same. So why are we investing all this money when we're just going to shift one customer from one channel to the other? And after some time, we proved them wrong, because we proved that customers that were actually going to buy online, they're actually buying more. And our statistics say that a customer that moves from the traditional channel to the online channel, they end up buying 40% more than before. Why? Because we asked the customers, hey, why are you buying more than before? And they told us, when we talk to customer, because it's so convenient for me. It's so convenient. I don't have to go out and ask for different quotes and go to a store. It's so easy for me to buy here. You deliver it to me next day at my doorstep. I have promotions. It's so convenient that I'm stopping buying to other competitors, and I'm buying from you, even though you have higher prices than the competitors. But the convenience of buying from you is so good that I buy more. And at the end, our own executives, our own sales VPs, and I'll say, hey, this is cool, we're winning. So when the three of them, win, they push by themselves. You don't have to ask them for permission. You don't have to ask them for investment. It's, hey, man, we're winning, go for it. So, and that's what happens, when you make a solution where, and it's not just on any solution, on every business, on everything, any initiative you do, when all the stakeholders win, you have guaranteed successful. Success is going to be guaranteed. But when one stakeholder doesn't win and they feel they're losing, then that's where you're going to have problems. And,
Wow.
so far, that secret recipe, which is very easy to say, is not very easy to implement, but, it works. And I think it's, the main recipe why we've gone from, we started, I remember we celebrated on 2017 our first million, when we sold our first million in e-commerce. And we're celebrating right now, actually, our 100 million. So we're selling $100 million through e-commerce. So, that's how much we've grown with this strategy.
That's incredible. What a story. Very, very inspirational. Now, I think, we've got about 14 minutes left, and I'd like to shift into some of the Q&A. We've had some questions come through from the people watching the webinar, and I'd like to throw these over to you guys one by one here. What percentage of annual sales are through e-commerce for each of the discussed businesses? And I'll modify this question, or I'll qualify this question a little bit by saying, first of all, do you guys both sell through not just self-service e-commerce, a website, but do you also sell through Punchout and EDI as digital commerce channels in addition to a self-service e-commerce platform or trade portal? And if so, if we combined all sales across self-service e-commerce, EDI, and Punchout, which is digital, those two are still digital channels. If we combine all your digital channel sales together under one roof, roughly what percentage comes through digital versus traditional channels? Start with you, Alan. Why not?
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So in our case, from self-service, we are right now on 60%. So 60% of all our parts sales are going through e-commerce. And we have branches. I mean, it's incredible. And we have branches. Actually, I was there in one of these branches yesterday. They have 92%. 92%. So 92% of all the parts they sell, they go through e-commerce. They don't have customers going into the branch anymore. Nobody goes to the branch, which is kind of a problem that we have to think how we solve now, right? But customers, they go to the branch because they buy everything, online. And we have is around 60% overall, which is a big number. And then we have around 40 customers where we offer, which are our largest. So what we do with these customers is we integrate their ERP with our ERP so that they can buy directly through their ERP. So they have the e-commerce inside their ERP. And penetration there right now is around 20%. So there are not many customers. So just one customer moved the needle from 20 to 30 or 40%. So our aim there is, try to implement one by one. And each one of these projects takes us around 6 months because there's a lot of work we have to do.
Integration work.
Integrating both systems. They're, one by one. And we still have a lot of room to go and a lot of opportunities there to grow. But all the retail sales, which are the other ones that I tell you, they're huge. I'm saying they're 60% right now and growing. Our target this year is to get to 65%, and maybe we're going to go over that as well.
Wow, amazing. We lost you there, I think, for a moment, just at the crucial point where you were talking about, I think you said, you broke up a little bit, but I think you said you've got 40 EDI customers. The biggest customers are integrated with you via EDI for purchasing. You broke up right at the point where you said that.
Yes, I saw that message that my connection wasn't stable. So we have 40 customers, which are our 40 largest customers. And those are our universe of customers who we offer integrated procurement. From those, we have right now 14. So we have many more to go. And overall, that is around 20% of the sales of those customers are going online through integrated procurement. And on the other side, which is all the retail customers that I mentioned before, we have 60%.
Wow. So seriously good penetration of digital channels into your customer base. Very, very impressive. Ljubitza, how about you?
Well, in our case, e-com represents like the just self-service. We don't have like EDI, we don't have Punchout yet. And we are attending like the B2B long tail clients. It represents by now like the 4.8% of our total sales in Promelsa. But talking about like the omni-channel sales, it's like the 33% about like the omni-channel, because we also have like other sales channels that are or have a more consultative approach, and they are not, and they just consume our page, our website, just for information, for tech specs, but they are not actually shopping. And for the short term, we're not jumping these clients onto our e-com. So we're also trying like the next thing we're gonna do is to address like these clients that use credit lines, because credit lines represent like the 80% of the way our customers transact with Promelsa. So it's a big opportunity for us like to still grow in our percentage of representation of e-commerce sales channels. And yeah, other plans that we have like to look up for it to scale. Mm-hmm.
Sure. So just to clarify, currently on your self-service e-commerce website, people, they can't put those orders on their trade account. They must pay like via credit card, I guess, at checkout or something like that. And so opening up the website to trade sales on a trade account is going to obviously make that opportunity much, much bigger across your customer base. If the vast majority of your customers are on trade accounts, then obviously extending that to them through the digital channels becomes really important.
You got it. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, we're looking for that like early next year. So yeah, because our sales goal for e-commerce and the strategic plan for Promelsa, like trying to bet for growing in digital, is it's a bet for everyone. So everyone's like looking for e-com sales channel to grow. So definitely, yeah, we're going to look after that path.
Amazing. We've got another question from Bruno here. Alan, could you explore more about how Ferreyros worked to have all of the parts catalog in the platform? I know you did go into some level of detail. Basically, you had to get approval from Caterpillar to be able to put products that weren't Caterpillar products into their e-commerce platform to be able to sell to your customers. But beyond the approval process and getting the permission to do so, then what did it look like to actually get that product data into the core platform? Because presumably, with the Caterpillar products, those are all SKUs furnished by Caterpillar, and so those are automatically in the system. So did you have to do like a CSV upload? Did you have to integrate, like, say, an internal PIM system up to Caterpillar? Or how did you get those additional supplementary products even into the Caterpillar platform?
Yeah, look, the beauty of our business is actually that we have Caterpillar, on top of us. And actually, they're the ones doing all the investment. And actually, their business model is they have 140 dealers in the world. So what they came up, many years ago was instead of, asking every dealer in the world to develop their own e-commerce, their own solutions, I am going to do it for themselves. I'm going to do it. And then their role is going to be to deployment, go-to-market strategies, but don't waste your time on technology because we are going to do it for you. So, and they came with these, one example of the e-commerce solutions, but as well as e-commerce, we have many other digital solutions. But on e-commerce, they said, okay, I've built this platform, which is called parts.com, parts.com, where actually you can integrate, in your country, but we have all the Caterpillar catalog on the world already loaded there. Okay, so it's more than 1.5 million SKUs parts. We, in Peru, we don't sell them all. We sell just a part of them. But when you go into the platform, you can find all of them. You can ask for a part that we don't have here, but it's, sourced from a warehouse in the United States, and you can order it, and it will come to Peru, and you will have it if you need it, right? But I was saying that's the beauty of our business, because we don't have to invest money into uploading products, taking photos, organizing catalogs. That's already been built. My effort and my teams, how to make customers use it, how to make customers buy more. We are not into technology.
Sure. Makes sense. Now, one of the other question here is all about, similar players to you guys launching B2B marketplaces in Europe, NORAM to scale their assortment. We know that, especially in the case of a distributor of many different products and many different brands from many different manufacturers, getting that product data into your ERP and then getting it into your PIM system and then getting it into your e-commerce platform or digital channels, it's a heavy lift, right? Because you actually, every one of those products actually has to exist in your ERP. It has to be priced. You have to maintain the pricing at a customer level, and it's a heavy lift to onboard new products when you are selling those directly on a first-party basis. But a lot of B2B brands that are already driving a lot of traffic to their web properties, they're also either adding multi-vendor marketplace functionality, or they're becoming effectively one vendor on their own marketplace. And so that allows them to scale out the SKUs that they can carry much, much faster, because those SKUs don't have to exist in the PIM. Those SKUs don't have to exist in the ERP. You basically, the vendor uploads all the product data into the platform. They set the price. And the only thing you have to negotiate is effectively the rev share, or the commission that you get for helping to drive that sale. So is that something that you guys have considered at all within your businesses, is saying, hey, look, we want to be, instead of a SKU provider, we want to be a total solution provider. And it doesn't necessarily mean to do that we have to own and onboard every one of those products into our warehouses to be able to sell them, but we want to monetize the traffic we're already driving to our digital properties by adding multi-vendor capability to it. Is that something that you guys have thought about or looked at all?
That's a question for me, right?
For both of you. Start with you, Alan.
Not that much. I mean, we need to comply with the tools that Caterpillar gives us, and at least our e-commerce is focused on parts, so we only sell parts. But we have another platform that we've built. For example, we just launched right now a new marketplace. It's called Machinet. It's for selling used equipment, for example, and that's a solution that we developed here, and where customers can upload and can sell their used equipments from any brand. So they can sell a Komatsu, a JCB, John Deere, any brand. It was, everybody was getting crazy here. Say, why, Alan? Why are you building a platform where customers can offer brands from our competitors? And I said, because I want to learn, from the market. I want to see, what are they buying? What do they like? There are many, negotiations where we don't participate because they buy machines from competitors and we don't participate in that. I want to be on those negotiations. I want to know where they're happening. That's why we build this new solution, which is a used equipment marketplace. We have another one, which is Ferreynet, which is our portal, where customers actually can go in and they can see their finances. They can ask for a service, for example, for a repair and all that. That's it's not parts, it's services that we give, repairments that we do. So they can go there, and we have different options for service, and they can ask for them on this platform as well. So you have different solutions for different needs. It's obviously better to have just one platform, to have everything on just one. We're trying to minimize the amount of platforms we have, and there are not many, but we have at least right now 3 where customers can go in and find different solutions.
Love it. No, being flexible enough to adopt solutions, independent point solutions where it makes sense to do so, but consolidating where it makes sense to do so, especially if, a master manufacturer is providing you a very comprehensive system that can cover 70-80% of your needs. Why wouldn't you adopt that? It reduces your tech costs substantially in that scenario. So why wouldn't you take advantage of that if it's available to you? But selectively adding on and bolting on additional functionality where it's required makes a ton of sense. Ljubitza?
Yeah, in our case, I believe the way to get to a marketplace will be first to do drop shipping. We're looking forward to that. Looking forward the strong relationship that we already have with our suppliers to hold not their inventory necessarily, but the products that are in their extended catalog. There are some products that we don't hold, but we can try and see to have the same brands, but we name different products in our catalog. They are called on demand. So we already in our e-commerce, for example, sell these products on demand. So the client go into the SKU, and if they want to ask for their product, they have to fill up the form. But we don't want to give that experience. What we want to do with these products that we don't hold in our inventory is to do that drop shipping. And after that, and seeing all the efficiency that we can gain, and to learn about like all this new business model, then we can jump in onto a marketplace. Yeah, definitely. It will be the way back like years ahead.
Yeah, I've seen that too in the market where, that tiptoe process for many B2Bs, especially distribution businesses that have very large catalogs, 1, 2, 3, 400,000 SKU catalogs, it's physically impossible for them to carry the entire catalog in their own warehouses and their own distribution centers. So they might carry the top 10, 20, 30% of their catalog in stock, the high moving items. And then for the rest, then they effectively have those orders go through their system, but then they get sent out to the supplier for direct shipment in a drop ship scenario. So, and then obviously that helps to create the business case for a greater expanded catalog with even a lower lift, which then naturally leads to the discussion about establishing a multi-vendor marketplace underneath your one brand umbrella. Makes a ton of sense. Listen, guys, we're out of time. We've ripped through an hour. It's been a fabulous conversation. I really, really appreciate your input, your thoughts from the trenches of e-commerce in Peru, especially B2B e-commerce, and all of the opportunities and challenges that presents to the not only the Peruvian market, but obviously to wider LATAM as well, because we all face similar challenges across, primarily with adoption, right? Adoption is the real trick here. In order to make a business case, I recommend to my clients that they start planning for adoption and they start having the conversations with their customers before they even go into scoping a solution, because you're far better off building a solution that your customers actually want, rather than assuming what they want and need. So thank you very much for your time. Your input has been invaluable. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to speak to you guys again soon.
Thank you, Jason, for the time, and all the attendees too. Thank you, Brett. See
Yeah,
you the
thanks.
next
Thanks everybody. I'm sorry we didn't get to everybody's
you.
questions. We'll get to them next time.